All right. We are on the air. Thank you guys for the patience while we were setting up. In case you are wondering who I am, my name is Antonio Bryce. I am the creator of the comic book series brand, which is currently on Indiegogo. We have raised over $68,000, and I have another amazing creator here today. The book is Of Time and Space, The Lunar Rise. Please welcome Larry Holder. How are you,
Oh,
sir?
I'm great, thanks.
Thank you for being here.
And thank you for
Um,
having me on.
well, that is one thing that I have talked about at length. A lot of times I hear someone wants to come on, and then I check my messages, and that person has never, ever contacted me. They've never asked me to come on. I don't generally track down guests unless they are, say, an Ann Nesenti or a Steve Englehart, someone like that, Sanford Grease, someone that I've been following for 10, 15, 20 years,
Hmm.
someone like that. But I welcome indie creators on this channel if I like their project. And if
Cool.
I do, and we can set up a time, then I am more than happy to have you on and have you talk about your book. Uh, and that is how you got here today. But you have a book called Of Time and Space, The Lunar Rise.
Yep.
Let's talk about it. The link, of course, is in the description to anyone that is interested in it. But please tell me about your book.
My book is an original like sci-fi fantasy story. It starts at the beginning of the universe and takes place on the first world that forms at the center of the universe. And a few races develop on said world, and then an ancient evil rises out of the ground one day, and they have to take care of that, or be destroyed. Basically, that's the general premise of the book, and then it develops from there. So the first part of the book is mostly just like a backstory leading up to where the book begins, I guess. So it goes over the whole beginnings and then history and stuff like that. So I would
Okay.
say it's kind of more of what you would consider like an issue zero in a lot of cases, but it it does have like story at the back. That's why I made it 48 pages. I didn't want to just do like a 24-page book that was all prologue story, right? So yeah.
Okay. I actually want to look because I'm on your Indiegogo right here. And again, the link to Of Time and Space, The Lunar Rise. This is issue number one. It is, of course, in the description. If you guys are interested in checking that book out from the very talented Larry Holder, um, let's actually have a look see at your campaign.
Cool.
Now, one thing that caught my eye, I like this cover a lot. It kind of looks like Jay Lee almost, kind of like a rough Jay Lee type style. Who did this
Mm-hmm.
cover?
As my artist is Rob Cannon. He's a fellow out of California. He worked on previously on a book with called Galaxial, and that's where I saw him. So I wanted to grab him as fast as I could if he was available. So
Okay,
yeah.
but let me see here. Go down a little bit, and then we can talk about some of your rewards and all this. So, is the book in color or is it black and white?
It's black and white at the moment. I have a stretch goal set up for color at $8,000, but if we just meet goal, it'll be color. So or black and white. I mean,
Black and
sorry.
white. I got you.
Yeah,
Because trust
yeah.
me, I did not anticipate. That was one thing is I can honestly say, uh, working on brand that I did. I was very naive about how comic books work and the amount of time and money that you have to put into. I was just like, hey, we'll put a story out and it'll just work. It's so much more than that I have learned because Kanan is a human being, not a machine. He has to draw things. He has to draw things. He's got a
Mm.
wife, 4 kids. Kids get sick. These are the things that I have noticed that have happened over the course of this campaign. People get sick. People are in the hospital. People have died.
Mm-hmm.
That has happened. People, not only in Kanan's family and friends, Our colorist had someone go in the hospital, and they were in the hospital for a few. So yeah, while that stuff is happening, it's kind of hard to be like, hey, where my pages at?
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
no, exactly, right? Like,
and these things have occurred and it's 48 pages, and Kanan has a style that is very detailed.
yeah,
So
yeah,
he's
yeah,
not just drawing. But actually, I'm looking at this page here. I think this looks great.
yeah,
The way this kind of, I don't know. I just like this like overhead shot here. I just like
yeah.
I like the way that looks. So
He's got a really loose sort of like animated sort of style. He's very fast, which is a nice thing. Like he can have a page, sometimes 2 pages done for me in a week if I really want it. And I've had not I have nothing but good things to say about Rob. He's an excellent, very professional guy. So
yeah,
yeah.
I like this too. Nice layout style here.
Mm.
I really like the way, because that's one thing I've noticed. I've noticed working with Kanan. I like the way Kanan lays his pages out. I
Yeah.
think he seems to think in a very unique way. Um, I have a few of my friends that are also comic artists, and they lay pages out. Kanan seems to do it in a way that I didn't think was fine. And I was like, oh wow, that's unique. I didn't expect you to do it like that, and it just turns out in a different way. But I like these little kind of how he splits. Like he take like this middle panel here, and he like splits it in half, and then you see this and
Yeah.
that. I think that's nice. That's a nice touch, and I think that's kind of things that I see when Kanan lays pages out. I think that's very appealing.
Yeah, I kind of just left the layout to him. Like we did, like he did a basic outline of all 48 pages when we started, um, which was really nice. It sort of helped me like get a good visualization. I could change a few things and stuff like that. At the moment, we've only got like 16 pages done, but yeah, like all I had on in my script was like general positions of things and stuff like that in the scene, and he just like went with it and did whatever he wanted, and I've been thrilled with pretty much everything he's put out so far. Yeah.
I like this page too. It and almost now I know it seems is he doing these pages traditionally? Because I like the way these
Yeah.
pages look. These aren't
Yeah.
digital.
No, these are not digital. He uses ink washes and watercolor for the most part. So
Now, color could help on some of these, but these are beautiful. The way I don't know. I watched Doug when he was doing Bigfoot Bill,
mm,
Doug to Nabel, and he would do a lot of that like ink wash stuff, and I just thought it was so cool. So stuff like this appeals to me.
yeah, I love black and white personally, but yeah, color would definitely help because he's got a really unique color style. But yeah, his black and white, his monochrome stuff is amazing. Like,
Well, see, let me explain, because like you could take a page like this and say he's like attacking someone, and you could
mhm.
keep it black and white, but you could like throw like some red in there where the blood is and stuff like that, and just kind of
Mhm.
keep it monochrome.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, when you go all the way to the bottom where I'm talking about my stretch goal, we did a couple color samples from some of the existing pages just to show how it's going to look, and it basically is sort of just like bold color washes over what he's already done. So
Hmm.
I think it looks really good. Yeah. Because when he did the cover, for example, like they were mostly like individual images, and then he put them together digitally so that it was nice and clean and everything.
Nice composite. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but these ones that he did all the way at the bottom, they're the actual pages, and then he had to color them. So he had to figure out a way to do that without ruining the original ink.
Now I
Uh,
like this. Did he do this too? Because I like this. This looks great here.
yeah, yeah, that's his cover. So
But
yeah.
I'm talking about this with the goat creature and all that he did. Oh man, that looks
Oh
fantastic.
no, the variant covers are different artists there.
Oh, okay,
So
yeah, but this
yeah,
looks great. Okay, I see
yeah,
two concept posters by
yeah.
Andre Boulard and what's that, Daswax?
Das Walks, I believe she pronounces it. She's a French Canadian artist. So
But yeah, I was like, this pops right here. This is fantastic right here. I love
yeah.
that. Um,
Andre Boulard is a local artist, really close to me. He's sort of like a hidden talent up here. He does some really amazing work, and it's all digital. But yeah, his stuff is awesome.
I
So
think I just passed what I was trying to find. Hold on, let me get up here. Is this? Yeah, here we go. Okay, and this is your color
Yeah,
samples here.
yeah,
Okay, look like you might have what some cybernetic type stuff going on here.
yeah. There's a good helping of technology sort of woven in, even though it's sort of more fantasy based than anything else. So
Okay, let me go
yeah.
back up to the top. But yeah, I like what you're putting down here. Let me see here because I want to go back up and I want to talk about your stretch goals and everything and see. Um, let's see. Okay, so you're at $578. You've got 20 backers so far
Hmm.
and 34 days left. Sometimes it's smart to have these longer campaigns because it takes a while to get the word out.
Yeah, especially where I don't have a huge following or anything on YouTube or Twitter yet. So
Mm, absolutely. Okay, so your basic book is $11,
hmm
and I'm assuming that is for a physical 48 page book.
that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. So that's your featured per digital. Oh, you can get a digital for $4.
Yep.
Okay, so it's not bad. And you say you've already you got like 16 pages so far?
Yeah, I've got two more on the way. Where I'm doing another couple. I usually order them in pairs because most of the pages kind of link up to each other. Um, so the next two that I've ordered is kind of like an action scene, and we're gonna do them black and white and color, so we can kind of show the contrast between them. So
Okay, so you can get for $11. Also, you can get the variant cover. So wait a
hmm
minute, let me ask because now I see you got. Or do you have two different variant covers, or is this just
it's a
one?
wrap around with two different images. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Because I was like,
yeah,
yeah, you got the two different images here, and it's just
yeah.
like saying very okay. So yeah, that's why I'm
Because the
glad
main
I asked.
Yeah, because the main cover's a wraparound, I kind of wanted to preserve that on the variant, but I didn't really have both the images I had done for that were, kind of just single poster type images. Those two images actually I did before I even, finished the script. I wanted to get some concept art started. So this would have been last year when I started this. And yeah, so I contacted these two artists and I said, yeah, I just want to get some feel for the look of everything. So we went from there.
Let's see. Okay, so you got looks like you have a little some what they call them tchotchkes.
Oh
So
yeah,
you got the green sun mug. Okay,
yeah.
so
I've got mugs. I've got metal prints. I've got poster prints on like super high quality paper. Uh, Lots of different mugs. Yeah.
So let me. Okay, so yeah, because I'm like yeah, you got all these the first races. So I guess this is all different things from your
Yeah,
yeah
yeah.
yeah, and then okay, so
A
now
couple.
I oh
Oh,
go ahead.
yeah. I so say a couple of these are like limited to like one or two. Uh, for backing because they were like one of a kind items that I made to sell at this convention that I went to, and they didn't sell, so I was like, yeah, I'll put them up on the campaign as like a special rare item, if you will. So
Okay, let me see here. Vazen Kazi says if it's the first civilization, what can be the ancient evil?
well, it's an ancient evil from before time, so that's how that works.
Okay, and another good question from Hugh Jass. He said, "What's the shipping? Because that's one thing I noticed. You got these cups. What's your
hmm
shipping like, player?"
Shipping is variable between where you're shipping it to, so I think I put all the prices in Canadian dollars. That's why it seems really cheap to US.
Uh,
Yeah, but
well, yeah. Well, are you? Maybe you're not aware of this now. Let me go back up because all of your prices are showing in U.S. dollars.
yeah, they do when you look at it, but when I look at it, they're in Canadian dollars. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay. I was just making sure because I was
yeah.
like, I've seen people make, but yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah, I've seen people make that kind of mistake before.
oh yeah.
And also wanted to ask, like, so if I go down here and buy a cup, that's
hmm
not coming with a comic book, right?
Um, the some of them do. Like the basic cup. There's one that's just gonna have like the cover image on it. It's just like a white cup with the cover image on it. That one comes with the book, but the special edition ones, the ones there's only like one or two of, they don't. So yeah.
Okay, because you got this perk here where you can get both covers for $23.
Yep.
Oh wow, that's fantastic. Now I don't know who you're using as a printer and all that kind of thing.
I'm still working on that, but I'm hoping I can get it done at work if we can figure out how to make the size properly. It's because I work at a printing company, so
Well, one of the reasons I'm asking, because
yeah.
your prices, I will say this, your prices seem a bit low based on some of the things that I've encountered.
Right.
But then again, I've spent over $40,000 on my book. So,
I'm pretty close to that too, actually. So
yeah, that's why I was like, yeah, I've spent colors and promotion and do it. Yeah, I've spent and I mean before my book started, I had maxed my credit cards. I spent over $5,000 on my personal credit. Yeah.
I'm almost there too. So
oh God, it was it's crazy. Now, when I was able to wipe that debt off, like with a quick Thanos snap, it was a beautiful feeling. I Thanos snapped all my debt away because I was owing, all these phone calls were coming in, people I was owing money to, and then all of a sudden I was like, and the debt was gone.
Yep. Oh yeah, that would be nice.
So
yeah, I think a lot of people are asking shipping costs. So I put them in Canadian dollars, so I can't remember what the exchange rate would be. But basically, if you're in Canada, it's like $12 for the book. I think the U.S. price, I put like an extra $5 on top of that.
Because I know a Canadian dollar is, compared to a U.S. dollar, is, I think it's about 70, 79, 80 cents.
It's like 75 cents right now. It's ridiculously low, but yeah. So I think it would probably only cost about $10 to $12 US, I'm imagining, to ship down to the US if you do the exchange. So
well, that's one thing I know, and you have to do those duty taxes and all that stuff. I've noticed when I've shipped things. I had my old roommates were in a band, and we I'd help them ship CDs, and we be shipping CDs to like Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Germany, Canada, and I was just like, man, you have to fill all this paperwork. So that part I'm not looking forward to, and because we've got a bunch of international backers, and so when that part happens, that's going to be fun.
Well, that's why I kind of put the digital. Originally, I didn't have that up there, and then I had a couple people contact me from like Australia and stuff, and they're like, I'd back your book if it was digital. And I said, okay, well, I'll put a tier up. I don't mind. So
yeah, so might be a little cheap for 48 pages, $4, just a little cheap.
Yeah, it's my first book though. I didn't want to go too strong, right? So
right. Well, I asked for 10 on mine. That's why I was saying, and no one knew who I was. And hell, if you went $7, that wouldn't be horrible for digital. And people want to support you. And I'm just my basic thing when I talk to you guys is just kind of, because I just know from everything I've seen, there are going to be problems with so that's the thing, and I'm just concerned because it doesn't look like you charged enough on some of these perks.
Well, hopefully, I deal with shipping on like things that would weigh about the same price as a comic book on a daily basis, so I had a general idea of what it was going to cost. I work at a place that prints a lot of photos and stuff like that, so we do ship out quite often, and I know the shipping in Canada really well. I know the shipping in the U.S. can get really tricky with the border.
That's what I mean, me personally, a lot of my backers, over 70% of my backers are U.S. backers. Thank the Lord. But boy, because I'm like, when I've been going over my analytics on Indiegogo, most of my backers are in the U.S. I think 73%. Now, the rest of them, I've got a strong presence in Australia, and I've got a strong presence in Europe and the UK. So like
Yeah.
UK, Germany, and a couple in France and stuff. But definitely the
Yeah.
UK and Germany have shown me a lot of love. But Australia has
Yeah.
definitely shown me a lot of love. And
Yeah. Unfortunately, the UK shipping is probably going to be your biggest concern because all those countries have different
well, the
shipping.
one that
Yeah.
people like Doug and Mike S. Miller have told me about is Australia.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And I've got
Yeah.
like 60 something orders in Australia. And I'm like,
Oh man.
oh God, like talking about 20-25 bucks to ship a book. And I'm like, I didn't
Yeah. Yeah.
charge enough. Okay.
Yeah.
And,
I
but,
think I put most of my international fees around $30 when I put them in, though, because I knew
oh,
that was going
wow.
to be high. So yeah.
Yeah, that's going to
Yeah.
come back and bite me a little bit. I'll, of
Yeah.
course, adjust it on the next book.
Hmm.
But okay, but let me make sure. I think I got all your big ones here.
Hmm.
But this looks good. Let me see here. Is there a particular perk that you would recommend to anyone listening?
I particularly like. There's one that comes with another book. It's a book that I made about the making of the project. I think yeah, it's called The Journey there. Um,
I'm trying to see. Have I passed it?
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying
I
to
think you
see
passed
where.
it there. Yeah, it has like a greenish cover on it. Anyway, that's like a making of book that I made. Originally, I was going to do it like a 10-page preview for this convention I was going to, but I thought it was a little boring, so I ended up writing this like 40-page book that goes with it.
Is this
And
it? Printed on
yeah,
stone, page 21 art.
no, the one right underneath that, The Journey. So
Aha.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, here we go.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you this. Now this comes now. What all comes with this?
Basically, it's a 40-page book and the 48-page comic. So
Okay,
the,
so what I would recommend to you
mm-hmm.
is you need to go back into your campaign and make this your featured perk.
Yeah, I should do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely need to do that. If this is the one that you recommend, because it looks like you get a really good deal there. It's $26 plus your
Mm-hmm.
shipping. And yeah, now your basic book should just go right underneath that $11. Some people want that, but your $26 perk there, that should be your number one. You should just, and
Cool.
I mean, but that's a quick fix. You can go in, just switch it out and make it your
Oh yeah.
featured perk.
Yep.
So there you go. That's oh my goodness, is that my dear friend Ethan Van Sciver?
It sure looks
Oh
like him.
my
Yeah.
God. I love you,
Yeah.
Ethan. How are you,
Yeah.
sir? I was like, yes, but that again, let me get back on here because but what gave you the idea for this? Why did you create this book? What was the inspiration, my friend?
Oh my God. Well, I started writing this book back in high school, so that would have been about 19 years ago. Uh, yeah, I know.
Okay, so you're an
Yeah,
old guy like me.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm 37 this year, so I'm not
Okay,
like
44.
yeah, I'm getting up there. So anyway, yeah. So I started writing this about 19 years ago. It's gone through a couple different drafts. I've tried to make it into a comic before and never got really that far. Then I started writing it as a novel, and it was really it was just a basic need to make something kind of similar to the other properties that I liked. And I really wanted to kind of like make my own version of that with everything about those types of stories kind of put into a narrative that would make me really happy, I guess. That was why I started writing it. Also, I wanted to kind of like um, delve into some studies of mythology and religion and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of influence from that in there too. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of into that history stuff. So yeah.
Hey, that's not, but again, I really like your artist. Maybe you could come back and I'd like to talk to your artist. That would be great because I
Oh,
like that ink wash style that he has. I think that
yeah, I'll see if I can get him on. He's pretty private. I had him on like a live stream on my channel,
Hmm.
but it took us a long time to book it. So
Well, yeah, and
yeah,
I have had a few artists on this channel, and I will be honest, sometimes they can be a little quiet lipped. They don't like
oh
to
yeah,
talk.
yeah,
and I'm like, oh boy. And I just yoy. I was
Yeah,
just like
well,
pulling teeth.
I would contact him on Twitter. Um, his name's Rob Cannon. It's spelled like the artillery, so Cannon. And he's I think his Twitter handle is like blowing mind art or something like that. I'd have to look at it again, but yeah, that's probably the easiest way to get a hold of him, honestly. But
But
yeah,
yeah, I dig that. I dig that ink washing and all that, and I just think that's fantastic.
yeah. One of the videos I got there on the campaign is actually like him doing like a rough like little test sketch basically of my main character there. So it's really cool to watch him work and how he just sort of like, it's all sped up, of course, but it's almost like he just slaps it all down and somehow it all comes together. It's really awesome. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So you got 19 years in this.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you have a full breadth of stories to tell everyone.
Yeah, I do actually. This was conceived as a 5-part story. So, and I don't mean like 5 issues. I mean like 5 separate episodes, if you will. So Lunar Rise is the first episode, and then there's like probably going to be about 3 issues in Lunar Rise, and then it'll go on as many as I need to do to tell the 5 stories. So
Okay, so we've
yeah,
sold a few books. You're at 582 right now.
excellent.
So you guys
I
out there backing, thank you.
Yeah,
We definitely
thank you so much. Yeah,
need creators.
yeah.
But I just so I would agree with that because yeah, I've got all these different stories in mind, but I've broken them into little pieces. I think this one will probably be 4 pieces, just this first story arc.
Mm.
4 maybe 48-page stories.
Yeah, this one was the hardest one for me to write, to be honest, because when I first started writing the story, it was the story that will be episode 2, but the backstory became so massive that it had to be its own thing, basically. And I didn't want to pull like a Star Wars and go back and do the first episode after, so I felt like I needed to start at the beginning and then work my way up. So.
Well, I did do a Star Wars prequel thing. I went back like 5 years,
Yeah.
and I went because originally, Brand started, and it was right before David meets Dawn, and and they start falling in love and everything. And people, as I started trying to explain the story, that people were like, "Well, you got to tell us more about Dawn." They seem to be very fascinated about the character.
Mm.
And I was already planning after I got my initial story that I was going to spin the characters off because I've got like all these characters and I was going to spin and tell different solo stories with each of the characters. So I had a story for Dawn's backstory that I was going to tell. And so instead, what I did is I just wove it into this so that people can get their Dawn fix early. And that is what you are seeing now, where
Oh, cool.
Dawn's a young lady, and then we'll see her become a woman and fall in love and get married and have kids. And so that is what we will do.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know it's really hard to, you start writing this stuff and your backstory can get so massive sometimes. It's
Oh, it's
hard to, yeah,
huge.
yeah,
It's huge. And like I said, if you got 19 years in it, I'm sure that, like I said, I can tell you about all my characters. I can tell you, like, their loves. I can tell you what they eat for breakfast, their kids, all that kind of stuff. The kids, they got grandchildren. I've got stories that tell those little individual tales with all of them. So
yeah,
hopefully
that's cool. Yeah.
people will support, and we'll get this one done late. We're on the last 14 pages now, since Kanan just let me know that he finished another page. So I know he's going to be on Mike S. Miller's channel tonight with the live auctions, hustling some of his glorious pencils. But yeah, I'm really excited. Looks like you've got a great project.
Oh,
I
thanks, man.
certainly wish you the utmost success for it. What all are you doing to promote?
Well, as much as I can. I've been posting a lot on Facebook comic groups. I'm trying to post a lot on Twitter. I've made several YouTube videos, but I don't have a big following there. I'm going on as many live streams as I can to try to promote it. That's about as far as I've gone with it so far. So.
Well, let me tell you something, because when I checked my DMs and I saw your message, and I checked your book out and I was like, hey, this looks pretty cool. Yeah, because I have let me see here. You know what, Muskie? I never asked Mr. Holder, are you part of Comicsgate? Are you in CG, or are you just a creator?
Well, I definitely follow all of the doctrine that Comicsgate do, and I just I have friends on every side
So
of
you're
the thing. Yeah.
so you have some
So I was
friends.
worried. I was worried about like pulling the trigger on the Comicsgate thing, but from the very beginning, when I started listening to Richard and Ethan and stuff like that, I was really into the Comicsgate thing. So actually, I've been trying to get the time to put together an application for IndieCron. So
Because that's why I'm about to say
yeah,
you need
yeah,
to be on IndieCron, because I
yeah,
can look on my sales, and they've pushed at least $1,700 worth of sales towards me just
yeah,
being listed on IndieCron.
yeah.
So that is yeah, okay.
I
Mobile
was also
thing.
worried about my artist too, so I wanted to
Well,
really
you
like
can be
sit
in
down and.
CG and your artist not be in CG.
Oh yeah, well that's just it. Like I wanted to sit down and talk to him and make sure that he was, okay with that. And he was basically just like, yeah, I'm just, for hire, and whatever you want to do is cool as long as I'm like not involved or whatever. And I said, fine, that's all right. Yeah.
Because that's the thing, and I actually just got a message back from Edwin Boyette, because I I respect Indicron so much, and I told Edwin that I would like to have him come on, because we had when Jean-Luc Mizell was still with Indicron, he came on and talked. It was a controversial chat. Got a lot but I actually enjoyed Jean-Luc. Some
Yeah.
people let me know that they were upset, but it seemed and then Jean-Luc left Indicron, of course, but I enjoyed having Jean-Luc on. I enjoyed our conversation. He seemed like a nice fellow. Me and him got along just fine.
I
But
like to think I can talk to anybody as long as we're all respectful. Like as soon as someone starts calling me like a Nazi or something, I'm done with them. But
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Trust me, I've been
yeah.
called an alt-right sympathizer, a coon, a Uncle Tom.
Oh
I've been
yeah, it's
called all
terrible
that.
right now. Like,
That's what I'm saying. It's like
yeah.
I don't, and people don't understand. I was like, I am definitely CG. I don't do adjacent. I have, if you're not CG and you're just a comic creator, that's fine. But I don't like to do the tweener thing. I got to be honest about that, because I feel
Mhm.
like, uh, you know, there are things that come with being Comicsgate. It's like,
For
and
sure. Yeah,
and since I've had to put that out, I've had to wear it, and and be attacked and do all this. It means something.
yeah,
It means something to me. It means something to John Malin. It means something to Ethan Van Sciver. You know what I'm saying? It means something.
absolutely. Yeah,
So
yeah,
um and that's what it is. So um but yeah, I have people on my team that that appreciate what Kanan and I are doing, but they are working in mainstream comics, and they know if their names are on brand, that they will get blacklisted, even though there's no blacklist.
yeah,
So I have veterans of the comic book industry that have been working in comic books for 15, 25 years, but when we put the book out, they're going to be under pseudonyms, as they were. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
They're not going to have
No,
their
I know
their
exactly what
names.
you mean. Yeah. I know recently,
Yeah.
around here anyway, a really good friend of mine who kind of helped me get started and stuff like that, who makes his own independent comic. He was sort of, he's never really been willing to take the moniker, but he ran into some trouble with another person at a convention, and all of a sudden he got banned from everything, and they're calling him CG and all this stuff, and he's had a hard time going with that. So You
And
know,
I mean, the thing
yeah,
is, you can even be someone, like Peter Samedi is not Comicsgate, but he's pro
yeah,
customer, been, and because he's not out here attacking Comicsgate people and said, "Hey, I want your business,"
yeah,
gets attacked and swatted and all this. So it does mean something,
yeah. Well, the
and
way I see it, like, it doesn't matter if you're in Comicsgate or not for the most part, but if you say I have no problem with these guys, all of a sudden you're in Comicsgate anyway, right? So why not just say, oh, I'm Comicsgate, right? So yeah.
that's
Yeah,
that's what it is. So, but
yeah,
definitely get Pixel Trader or Edwin, someone, if you get yourself listed on Indicron. Why?
yeah,
I mean, you still, like I said, you still got 34 days left on your campaign. Indicron is so important. Please utilize that resource. I would highly recommend that to anybody that is out there and trying to promote a book, because it just gives you such a ability to promote when you're asleep. There's so many
yeah,
people
that's true.
going to Unicron. It seems like their numbers on the rise and all that. So it's a thankless task, and I uh, always want to tip the hat to the good folks at IndieCron,
Yeah.
and that
Well, I know
is
Edwin and I have chatted lots of times in the past. I've been on his show a couple times. So
yes.
yeah, Edwin's an amazing guy. So the work that he does for creators, like, I don't see anybody else really putting themselves out there like that right now. So
Yeah, so no,
yeah,
I love Edwin, which is
yeah.
why he has a small part in Brand. Edwin will be portraying the role of Edward Lind in my comic book. He is the
Oh, that's
gentleman
cool.
that picks up Dawn as she is hitchhiking across the country and takes her on to her next destination. So, I enjoyed and Kanan enjoyed creating Edwin. He was. And I remember when we got the art done and I sent it to Edwin, he was so tickled, and I was thrilled with that. He has been such a huge supporter of mine, and I remember the first time I talked to him, he didn't know me from Adam. Mike S. Miller had been generous enough to invite me on his channel,
Hmm.
and Mike was like, "All right, man, good luck with your book." And he left, and we were still on the hangout, me and Edwin, and I know I talked to him for about another hour and a half, and he was just going over my campaign and giving me advice. And this is, I love Edwin. He's a great person and a great ambassador for CG in this community. People like him, people like John Malin, they are the backbone of CG, and I always appreciate what they're doing. So,
Yeah, and I talked
that,
to John last night. I was on his show. So, you know, um, I think being like, at first I was a little worried because of all the controversies popping up and whatnot, but after being sort of in with all of the Comicsgate people and stuff like that, I don't see any reason not to join. Really, like, everybody's so friendly, open, just awesome, right? Like, and we're all here to make really cool things. So
yeah,
yeah,
we're yeah. This is an amazing community of creators. And just fans, and I definitely I think there's a lot of misinformation being put out there,
definitely,
about
yeah,
what this movement is and what it's about, and like this kind of, um, I don't. I just want fun comics like what I read when I was a kid. You
yeah.
know,
That's where I'm going for too, right?
yeah,
Like,
I'm just
yeah,
trying to tell
yeah,
cool stories, and not I don't want tokenized characters, and that's a definitely a big thing for me. Since I'm not sure if anyone knows this, but I happen to be a black man. I just want fun, you know, agenda free stories,
it would be
and
nice, right? Yeah,
it
you
would
know,
definitely be
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, man. And I do want to say, Black Cap, I see you out there in the chat. I've been worried about you, brother, because I hadn't seen you online. And are you still on Twitter or any of that? Because I'm used to seeing you on the Twitter, and I haven't seen you. But it's good to see you he's a mod here on this channel, and it's
Hmm.
good to see Black Cap. He is always holding it down, and salute to the brother Black Cap. Let me see. Oh no, some people are shocked that I am a Negro. That is not good. I have I did. It was so funny. Right before we went on the air, I was exchanging text messages with Doug Tenaple,
Yeah.
and I did tell him that I would like to come out of the closet as transracial, and I have decided that I am transracial, and I need the support of my friends like Doug Tenaple.
There you go.
I need them to support my decision to come out as a transracial man,
Hmm.
and I need, and Doug has offered his support. And thank you to Doug Tenaple. But matter of fact, please back Earthworm Jim, and also back Doom Kicker on Indiegogo by Doug and Elliot Fernandez. I sat up with Elliot last night for about 3 hours, and we went over the first 21 pages of Brand, and
Ooh.
yeah, it was because he was like, man, you really got a lot of stuff. And I was just like, but Elliot has been so generous with his time and just tried to help me and been very supportive, and he's doing one of the variant covers for Brand Way of the Gun. So salute to Elliot, and
Yeah.
proud backer, and good. Oh no, Black Cap says I'm Uncle Ruckus. I hear the Boondocks is actually coming back. John Witherspoon, when he was on Joe Rogan's program the other day with his son, said that they are going to bring the Boondocks back for another season. Which that was one of my favorite cartoons back in the day.
Yeah, that was a great show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I love the Boondocks. So if it is indeed coming back for a fifth season, I would be very interested in watching it. But only if Aaron Magruder was not involved in season 4,
Hmm.
and Aaron Magruder had a small dispute with the Cartoon Network, and he walked away. So those first 3 seasons he was involved in. Season 4, which I thought the quality was not quite what it should have been. He
Yeah.
was not involved in, but hopefully, if it is coming back like John Witherspoon says, that he will be involved again, because they also have a season of Black Jesus that has not been aired yet, and it's fully shot.
Oh,
And
that was a great show. I only got to watch the first season, but man, was that ever a great show.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
they got season
Yeah.
3, and it's been done for almost a year. And for whatever reason, maybe it's too controversial and they don't want to air it, but it's been done.
Yeah, I don't know if like in the current landscape. Well, actually, maybe what's what the current landscape needs, right?
Yeah,
Like, it needs a show that just doesn't care, right? Like, yeah,
yeah, but yeah,
yeah.
they finished shooting Black Jesus like uh a year ago, like summer of last year, because I know Corey Holcomb. I watch his channel, the 5150 Show, and he said, yeah, he said we finished last summer, and I think they're afraid to put it out. So
Yeah,
that's telling
probably.
me, he said it's funny. He said
Yeah.
the show it's it's Edwin Boyette. It's in the chat. Antonio, I likes you and I want you. We can do this the hard way or the easy way, which is the classic Boondocks. That is hilarious.
Oh
Oh
my.
my god,
Yeah.
Boondocks! Though, like I said, those first 3 seasons, there are so many Stink Meaner and all the different classic stuff. I just think it's great.
Yeah.
And but the season 4 had funny moments in it, but it
Yeah.
was definitely not quite what I was hoping it was going to be. But I watched it. Um,
Yeah, that show had a lot of really good style too. So,
oh
like,
man, yeah.
the animation was like really excellent. The voice acting was all good, and yeah.
Oh man, yeah. This is yeah, Stink Meaner and what's I can't remember the the Black Kung Fu bodyguard that
Oh man,
oh man, it was
I
just
haven't watched that show in probably like 5 years or something like that. So,
Oh, it was just and the little manga anime influence on it and
yeah,
all that.
yeah,
Just love because
yeah.
I'm into that. That's what I'm into. I'm into like Japanese anime and stuff. So
Oh,
yeah,
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 totally.
just great.
Yeah.
So John, like I said, John Witherspoon just said this last week on Joe Rogan's podcast that they are coming back with the Boondocks. So
That's cool.
I
Yeah.
I really hope that is the case because he was in Black Jesus season 3 too. Because Aaron Magruder is a producer on Black Jesus. He's co-creator of that show.
Mhm.
So, but again, they must have put some hot fire out there because like I said, Corey Holcomb said, I think they're afraid to put season 3 out. It's funny. So they've been sitting on it for a year. So they
Well,
still
I
haven't
mean,
released
yeah.
it. So
You're
um,
not allowed to be funny anymore, right? I mean, like, yeah.
well, I mean, yeah, they
Yeah,
definitely. I know the comedy can be a little edgy, so
yeah.
yeah, in this political climate, they're probably afraid to
Well,
because yeah, they spent
I
all that money and didn't put it out. So,
I watched some woke comedy the other night, and it was
oh
the most
boy.
horrible thing I had ever seen in my life. So,
So
yeah.
what did you check out? What you got to tell me?
Well, I
What?
was watching one of the specials on Netflix. It was just one of those random like comedian shows where
Oh
they've got a
gosh.
bunch of different people, and one of them was like a feminist comedian. And I was like, it was so bad I can't even remember the jokes. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
oh God. Yeah, it's just
yeah.
let me see. Captain Black Cheesemo says the Usher episode of the Boondocks is funny as hell, and I definitely agree with that. There was another episode with called the Itis, and yeah, oh my, there was
I think I remember that one. Yeah.
and then the episodes with Cat Williams, a pimp named Slipback. So that is matter of fact, there's another show they did with was it Michael Jai White, Black Dynamite.
Okay. Yeah.
He's dynamite. It is so Black Dynamite, and they had a character on there. There's a character called Cream Corn. And so when Kanan and I were going over the pimp character Fame that picks Dawn up, the character Fame is kind of an amalgam of all these like pimp characters, like pimp named Slickback and Cream Corn and all these different characters that Kanan and I have. Because I grew up, when I was coming up in the hood, I used to see little pimps and players out there, and that kind of gave me an idea for a character named Fame. So, I just showed, and you could go on my Twitter. I showed 3 pages of pencils from Kanan, all complete, no edits, no cutout panels, all 3 of them, and you can see Dawn walking into Pimp's his little pimp pad, which I call the Hall of Fame. So it's the Hall of Fame, and then it looks all he pulls up in like a Rolls Royce Phantom and gets out with that pimp cane, and him and his chick, and then they walk Dawn up, and the building's like, because it's Detroit, they're in Detroit, and they're in like a horrible rundown neighborhood in Detroit, this big project building. They walk up in there, and Dawn is like, oh my God, what did I just walk into? And then when he knocks on the door, and it because I told Kanan when I was coming up with the script that Fame's place should look it should be kind of like the Carter in New Jack City. It
Right.
should, he has control of the entire building.
Mm-hmm.
And so he knocks on the door, and you see the guy slide the panel back and look and see that it's Fame. And then so he opens up, and then when he opens the door up, like I said, the whole building looks run down, and you open it up, and all of a sudden he got stripper poles in there, big flat screen TVs, jacuzzi, the whole place. He's got food laid out, people up in there. There's bartenders in there. The whole place just looks lavish, and it's fantastic. And I actually wish I could keep that page, but it belongs to one of our glorious backers.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and I was like, man, that page looks great. I want to keep it, but it belongs to one of the backers. So have to make sure that they get what they paid for. So I was just like, oh man, but the page where they walk into the house. So I just yeah, but oh man, but again, this has been a great chat. Let me
Yeah,
check
man.
on your book again and see where you're at, because I do appreciate you guys that have stepped up and gave Mr. Holder some of your hard-earned dollars there.
I really
And
appreciate you guys because, I've been kind of sitting for a couple days without any backers, and
uh,
I'm feeling the love, so that's
so
great.
yeah,
Yeah.
so okay, so it hadn't moved anymore, but people come in and they'll watch later. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So we get obviously this will be up, and we'll get that replay value. But all right, guys, we're gonna get out of here, but definitely thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for Larry for his time today, and please, please, please back up Space and Time, the Lunar Rise on Indiegogo. It is there, and hopefully soon you will have it up on IndieCron as well, because I definitely think that would help you push that thing. Okay. So let's see, lady Celtic Moon says needs to wait till payday. So hey,
That's okay.
you
Yeah.
got 34 days to
Yeah.
back. Just you know, if you came back today, but if you can back later, that is all appreciated. I'm sure Mr. Holder would appreciate your
Yeah.
support.
I have to do that a lot too, so I completely understand.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
thank you to those of you that have backed today, and those of you that have at least considered. And let me see here. Jeff Stanker. I'm probably Steinke. I'm probably screwing your name up. I apologize, brother. Get that shit on Indicron. I put that shit on every day. Bam, there you go, man. Indicron. So you hear it, man. Make sure holler at Pixel Trade or something. Get that thing up there, man, because it definitely will help you. But all right, is there anything you would like to say? Anything else you'd like to promote before I wrap this one up?
Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody, especially you, Antonio, for having me on. And if you back this, I promise you'll have years and years of content coming afterwards. Because once I get going, I'm not going to stop. This is my life's project. So.
Oh, yep. See, there you go, man.
Yeah.
I like to hear that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm going to wrap this stream up. And if you want to reach out to me, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and right here on this YouTube channel. Everywhere is at Akari Press. And if you type in akaripress.com, it will take you directly to my Indiegogo campaign for my comic book series brand with the phenomenal Kanan White. We're on Teespring. We're on Amazon.com. The links to those are in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. Back of Time and Space, the Lunar Rise. I'm out.